when I was introduced, I didn't know anything about research. Like, I can remember there was a time in my first year, I called my mom, and I called my mom. I was like, "Did I make a huge mistake?" I was crying because I was scared. Representation is very important for me. It's important to have people that you can see yourself in, because that also makes it easier for you to actualize your dreams. Because I feel like anyone and everyone can do a PhD if you want to do it. So yeah, that's the idea behind my YouTube channel.
Yeah. こんにちは。今日はアイシャさんに来てもらっています。
Hi everyone, my name is Aisha and I am a PhD student at the University of Cambridge. I'm currently doing a PhD in medical science, and like Shoko, I also do my PhD at the MRC Cancer Unit. And yeah, it's such a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you for being very polite. So I want to ask you how you decided to do what you're doing at the moment.
Okay. I'm originally from Nigeria, and for the most part of my life I lived in Nigeria for like I think 18 years old. So in primary school I can remember like my mom would also even remind me these days that I've always said that I want to do medicine. In primary school, where we had like career days where you're supposed to dress up as like the career that you want to pursue, I would dress up like as a doctor or something, because it's always been something that I was just naturally drawn to. When I was little, I only understood medicine, so I didn't have a lot of like experience with research. I wasn't exposed to research because again I'm from Nigeria and we don't really have a lot of like opportunities to do research. So for me it was always just take care of patients and that's it.
Did you have any other interests? You were very
God, honestly, like this sounds so cliche, but honestly it's always been it. Like that has been what I look at. So when I see myself, since when I was like in primary school, it was always like in the picture it was always medicine. Like it has to be the hospital, it has to be the body, the patients and stuff. So I've never really thought of anything else. But that being said, if you ask me today that if it's not medicine or if it's not medical sciences or research or whatnot, what would it be? I would say being a chef. Because I like to cook. Like I'm someone that I don't just eat for the sake of eating. I like to experience the taste. So weird, but
it's not weird. It's important.
And also I'm very into like multicultural dishes and intercontinental dishes. So I like to try different like flavors, different spices, and just mix stuff together. So I feel like. And I watch a lot of chef documentaries as well. So I find that intriguing, even though it's nothing related to science or medicine or research.
It's kind of related to science, you know.
Yeah, when you're doing an experiment, I think it is. Yeah, exactly. So so if not for medical research or anything in the medical line, it would definitely be a world-renowned chef.
Have you tried Japanese food?
No.
Maybe I should serve you.
I'm sure like I would love it. Like I love like trying new like dishes and stuff.
Yeah, and this is a great place to explore lots of different ingredients, right?
Absolutely. You know, yesterday I still went to like a Thai restaurant and I loved it. Like they used like some specific spices that I've never cooked with, and I didn't even know that it was supposed to be like chili or something. And then I ate like 3 and I'm like, wait, this doesn't have any taste. And then a couple of seconds later I'm like, ooh, this is so hot. But yeah, I love like to try.
No, I have that. I went to a supermarket and then somebody told me this is a very hot chili. And I was like, can it be that hot? It looked very cute, colorful and squishy. And then I was like, really? And then I touched it lightly. And then after a few seconds, my finger burned.
Oh my god, I can't imagine how hot that would be.
So sorry, we went slightly off. So you were in Nigeria?
Yes.
Until you were 18?
So I was in Nigeria until I was 18, and I got a scholarship to do biomedicine at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. So up until that time, I was also like focused on medicine still. The educational system was difficult for me to navigate through the educational system, and that was because there are lots of improvement, at least at that time. Maybe things are better now, but at that time I struggled a lot with like, I mean I wanted to learn. I'm passionate about just learning and just learning basically. It keeps me alive, it keeps me excited, but the environment wasn't allowing me to do it in an enjoyable way. I was basically, if I were to summarize it, I was looking for opportunities abroad. I wanted to go abroad. That's all, if I were to summarize it. So I applied to a few places, but I didn't get it the first time I applied. So my cousin helped me. So he applied on my behalf with all of my credentials, of course, to a scholarship in the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, and it was for biomedicine. Excuse me. And biomedicine is different from medicine. And to be honest, at that time I didn't really know much about biomedicine, because again, as I said, my knowledge of research was very limited, and the biomedicine course ran for 3 years, and it's like a very research intense course, in the sense that they teach you the basics all the way from like how to have a hypothesis, how to the very nuances, like how you work in a lab, like how to do all of the calculations, or how to design an experiment and all of that. So it was a 3-year course, right? And I can remember when I first got there, I was a bit scared, to be honest, because when I was introduced, I didn't know anything about research. Like, I can remember there was a time in my first year, I called my mom, and I called my mom. I was like, "Did I make a huge mistake?" Like, I was crying because I was scared. I was like, "Did I make a big mistake?" Like I'm finding it really hard to understand what I'm being taught. Like, it's challenging and all of that. So I was really scared that is this really something that I like, and that kind of thing. So I ended up my mom, like, of course my mom has played a huge role in like motivating me and just keeping my spirit alive. So like she spoke to me a lot, and over time I found out, like, it's just so funny how life works, because when I first started I didn't like it, and I think it was probably because I left my comfort area. It was something that I didn't know, and you know, when you leave your comfort area, there's a lot of inconvenience that you don't feel at peace, because you're like, ugh, like, what am I doing, that kind of thing. So that's how I was, but thankfully I held on to it, and what kept me going was the fact that I felt challenged, and I just wanted to prove to myself that I can do it. So life just has a funny way of working, because eventually when I was going into my second year, I started to actually like research, which is shocking for me, because, you know, as I said earlier, research wasn't my thing. So once I realized that I think, okay, this is really cool. So I started to explore like research opportunities. So for example, I would do summer internship. Like my first year, I did a summer internship for like 6 or 8 weeks. That was my first ever experience with research in a non-pedagogical setting. So, you know, if you're doing a course, the kind of things they teach you is different from when you're actually doing your projects in a lab and stuff, because when you're doing a course, it's structured, but when you're doing a research in the lab, you have to like figure out everything on your own. So that was my first actually practical experience, and I would advise anyone who is thinking of that to have that kind of experience outside your academic environment, because it says a lot. So I did the first year summer internship. It was challenging because I had to write my report and all of that kind of stuff, present a poster, make a presentation out of it, and I had not had experience with that. But again, it was something that I liked the idea of. So my second year, I also applied for Erasmus Plus to come to Cambridge to do a research internship in one of the labs that I had gotten someone to supervise me with, thankfully. And again, I enjoyed it as well. So later on, I started to work as a part-time laboratory technician close to my university. So when I'm done with my courses, or when I'm done with classes during the day, I would go to the lab around the evening and work a bit and then go home. So I did that over time. So all of it was just, and then it was during that time that we also had we were able to go to the hospital to see cancer patients and stuff, and there was like an overlap between research and medicine. And at that point I was like, whoa, so wait, like, it's not just, you know, I go to the hospital, I treat a patient. There's so like research has done a lot, actually in oncology specifically. I don't think I've talked a bit about how I got interested specifically in cancer research, but again, cancer is something that most people like battle with. Everyone knows someone who has cancer and stuff. So when I was introduced to the clinical part of research and translational part, I loved it. Like, it was, and then that's where I started to think of the idea of having both medicine and research. So I guess that summarizes all how like I sort of got interested in research in a broad setting.
Sort of way.
Yeah.
How is it like in Nigeria? What language do you speak, and what kind of environment is it? Like, I have no idea.
Okay, that's cool. So Nigeria is a populated country. I think there are like over 180 million. I'm not sure, but I think that's the number. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of tribes. There are over 200 tribes. So yeah, it's very diverse, very diverse. There's sometimes that I see like videos or pictures, and I'm sure it's the same in Japan as well. Like when I see pictures or videos of some places in Nigeria, sometimes I think to myself, oh my god, is this Nigeria? Because like, you know, I've never been to those places. It's just like, whoa. So yeah, there are over 200 tribes in Nigeria. I'm from the southwest. A tribe is like a group of people that are joined together by similar language and geographical area.
So it's different from dialects.
No, yeah.
They stay totally different.
Yeah, it's different because in a tribe you can have different dialects.
Oh, okay.
So I'm Yoruba, and I speak Yoruba. So my mother tongue is Yoruba.
What was the culture shock you went through?
You asked about the culture shock.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that I experienced, but I think the first would be weather. So the weather was different because again I'm from Nigeria. Nigeria is super hot. Sometimes it can be cold, but for the most part it's hot. So I moved to Sweden where the snow, we had like massive snowstorms and stuff. And I hadn't really experienced the change in dressing as well. So when I first got to Sweden, I didn't know what to buy. Like, I can remember there was a time I wanted to get winter boots, and it turns out that I got a costume boot. Like, can you imagine? And then I went into the snow with a costume boot with suede, and it was like very slippery. And I didn't know. And then a friend, bless her, she told me later on, she's like, this is not the right winter boot. So she followed me together to the shoe store to get, those are the tiny like examples of, because my wardrobe was completely different.
You're doing medical science PhD at the moment?
Yeah.
And how are you finding it?
So yeah, it's been interesting. You know, when I started here, I started in 2019 and it was 6 months before COVID. So in my first year, I can remember my first year, I was going crazy because I had like the proposal and the research plan, but because of COVID, I had to turn everything to computational stuff. I think for me, the biggest difference switching from a bachelor's directly to a PhD is that for a bachelor's, you have like an exam like after every term, so you sort of know how you're doing. Whereas for a PhD, no one is going to tell you, oh Aisha, have you run your experiment today? Or Aisha, like the reagent that you want to use next week, have you ordered them? Like, you know, all of these tiny things, and it's hard to know if you're doing well.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know if you...
I think that was the problem in my first year as well.
Yeah.
It got better after I realized that, like, some people start to recognize, oh, you're doing okay, your work is great and stuff. So you start to get feedback very late, like a year or in 2 years. So I think just keep working until you get that feedback. Yeah. Without any feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite challenging.
Exactly. And aside from that, I think that it's just like a journey, I guess. Like, if I look at myself a year ago, I'll say that a lot has changed. And if I can see that a lot has changed within the past year, I'm hopeful that things will get better as well. And also, I'm just one thing I wanted to mention is I'm so thankful for the lab that I am in, because I always say this, and I'm sure people are probably tired, like from the people that I talk to, I'm sure they're tired of me saying this, but your experience that you have as a PhD student depends on so many things, and the lab that you work in is one of the major factors. So it's not just your project, it's the people that you work in. Are they supportive? Do they allow you to thrive? Do they allow you to, like, you know, just flourish as a PhD student? So I'm so thankful and blessed to have the kind of group that I work with, and there's just so many people that I can always reach out to for help, so many people's experience that I can draw from and just become a better PhD student and also apply it to my research. So yeah, definitely I think like my group, I can't imagine doing my PhD in a different department or a different group. I just can't imagine. So yeah, it's been great. Totally cool.
I know that you wanted to be a medical doctor since when you were very young.
Yeah.
You're looking into that, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking into that. You know, it's so scary because the future is just filled with so much uncertainty.
Yeah, I know.
And even if you have your plans, sometimes life just happens and life throws you something and then you find yourself somewhere. So for example, I didn't think that I would be in Cambridge. And also, sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention is I should have given credit to the people that fund my PhD. So my PhD is funded by the Cambridge Scholarship, which basically is part of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and without them there's no way I'll be in Cambridge pursuing my degree. So they were the ones that decided to sponsor my education, and it was when they decided to sponsor my education that I was like able to sort of, you know, say that, okay, I want to come to Cambridge and all that. So that aside, let's talk about the future now. So yeah, the future is something that scares me because I'm sure it
scares me too.
It scares me a lot because I don't just know what's going to happen. But for me, like as I hinted earlier, like my dream career would be to do medicine with research. Having access to patients and just seeing how your work is helping the clinics is something that I think is rewarding. And I feel like for me, if I think of a life that is fulfilling, that part is also very integral to it.
I totally understand.
Exactly. So for me at the moment, in terms of future, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm hoping, like, my plan is to pursue a medical degree, like medicine, after my PhD. And then we'll see, and that's a journey on its own. So like I'm sure you're perfect for this. Like the medicine journey is like, you know, another thing entirely. Like you've experienced both worlds, so you're perfect. Like that. So yeah, like let's just get that. Let's get the PhD done, survive the PhD, and then let's think about the medical school, survive medical school, and then we'll see how life like goes from there. So,
we need to keep chatting. In Nigeria, when a girl dreams of becoming a medical doctor, what is the realistic future outcome?
The issue is that I can remember when I came to Nigeria for a bit over the summer when I finished my undergrad before coming to Cambridge, and then some people knew that I was doing a PhD. They were like, aren't you tired of studying? And like, when are you going to get married? Someone personally told me that I can never be happy no matter what I do if I don't get married. So yeah, it's really challenging. If I tell them that I'm not planning to stop anytime soon, so you can imagine me telling someone that, oh, I still plan to go to medical school afterwards. They'll be like, what is wrong with you? So I don't even. Some people will think that you're just too ambitious. Like they like to, like, some people, and again I'm putting caution because I'm not saying that that's how everyone is. But this is just based on my personal experience, because there are lots of people that get shamed if they're not married, and if they're like pursuing academic degrees, or even pursuing, for maybe if you want to be a doctor, you're a bit supported. But if you're planning to do more, like for example, let's say you finish your 6-year program as a medical doctor, and then you're planning to maybe do a PhD, just like, oh wait, let's use you for example, you're perfect. They'll be like, wait, what? Like you went to school for 6 years, like what else are you looking for? When are you going to start a family? And like, just, you know, people like, I feel like it's a cultural thing. And one more thing I forgot to mention, as a Muslim woman as well, there's also another part of being a Muslim woman where a Muslim woman is expected to be silent, and she's not expected to do anything extra. She's just supposed to be at home, take care of kids. And I don't have any problem with people that do that, but my issue is that, like, for me, religion and even culture has allowed me to, it has empowered me to do whatever I want. And it's not, you don't have to do one part. It's not mutually exclusive. You can be a great mother, you can have kids that you attend to, and at the same time you can have dreams, you can pursue your career. So you just don't have to check a certain box or be in a certain, like, you know, category to be a woman. And aside from the cultural part, there's the religious part as well. So for me, it's always inspiring to see women who break the stereotypes and show that you can be whatever you want to be. Like nothing is really stopping you.
I see. One thing I want to mention is that you're doing your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And I watched the first one a long time ago, and it was very inspiring. So you guys should watch.
Oh,
and it hasn't got Japanese subtitles, but nevertheless.
Maybe I could just mention briefly why I started.
That would be great.
The channel. So I currently have a YouTube channel that I call Practice Makes Perfect, and I started it after my first year of my PhD, because as I hinted earlier as well, when I was coming here, it was hard for me to imagine that I could study in Cambridge, and that was because, like, when I was searching online during the late part of my undergrad degree and trying to find people that were already, maybe not in Cambridge, maybe just doing a PhD, to be honest, but most people that I was seeing, they were a bit established, and you know, when you're established, you're a bit confident, like you know what you're doing. When you're younger, like for me, I feel like it's a bit harder to sort of feel like, you know, I can do this and stuff. So I just wanted people that were young like me, who looked like me physically, and also people who were just pursuing what I was passionate about. So I decided, I was like, okay, now that I'm 1 year done, like 1 year into my PhD journey, I'm gonna as well just carry the camera and film what it's like doing the PhD. Because if you Google this, you can see information about how to get a PhD, but you don't really see what a PhD is like. The tiny practicalities, like, excuse me. So those are the things that I wanted to document, and also just representation. Representation is very important for me. It's important to have people that you can see yourself in, because that also makes it easier for you to actualize your dreams, because you see that, okay, she's doing it, I can do it, and I can even do it better, that kind of thing. So in summary, I started my YouTube channel to document my journey through my grad school journey. That's like basically I film myself in the lab, and just when I'm not in the lab, when I'm working from home, I film myself. And the idea of the channel is I just wanted to be real, so I show all of the part of doing a PhD, not just the happy part. I also show the part where I'm struggling, and the things that are a lot of parts where I'm struggling and just how I'm trying to figure out what on earth I'm doing, just so that it humanizes the whole process, and people don't see it as like something that is too like grand that I can't do, because I feel like anyone and everyone can do a PhD if you want to do it. So yeah, that's the idea behind my YouTube channel.
Yeah. I like your honesty in little videos. I see your struggles, and sometimes it's something that I went through there as well.
Great to hear. That's reassuring then, that it's not just me.
I think it's everyone's. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us, and see you in the next video.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure, and bye.
Bye.